Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday, January 12th. We have, sorry, I'm pulling up the Pledge of Allegiance. We have our regular council meeting. Happy New Year to everybody. It's 2021. So welcome back. I was hoping we could be meeting in person, but statistics aren't allowing it. But here we are. So it's nice to see everybody's faces. Let's call this council to order. All of council is in attendance. And we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have the invocation. So if you'd like to bow your heads, if we could pray. Dear Lord, we've lived a tough year in 2020. But we do thank you for the many blessings that have come from that year, a little more togetherness with family members, staying in touch with friends down the street and the elderly, and really getting to know our neighbors a little better. But there were many more difficulties than treasures. But we do thank you, and we pray that this year starts off in a better way. And we pray that all of the citizens who want the vaccine in our town and in our state and in our country are able to get it. And we pray for the health of those who have not been hit with COVID, and pray for the health of those who have had it. Please guide our council in doing the right thing for all of our citizens. In this we pray, amen. Adoption of the agenda. Are there any changes? Mr. Orlando?
No, ma'am.
Okay, the agenda is online. We post it every Thursday. So that's something that people who are following us on Facebook can see now or many days after. So if there's no change to the agenda, is there a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That's unanimous. Next is adoption of the minutes. We had a meeting in December, on December 8th. The minutes were sent to y'all ahead of time. Are there any changes on the minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 8th, 2020?
So moved.
So moved.
Bridget, so moved.
Second.
Dan, second. Any discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Next, is it student of the month? I just slipped out of my agenda.
Yes.
Okay, we have 3 presentations. First is excuse me, is our student of the month, and we love having them present when we are meeting in person, but we do like to highlight each student. This is picked out of our cluster. Every cluster has a student of the month, and this comes from well over half of the student body population in Beaufort County. So this month's character trait was respect and gratitude, and the young lady who received this award is Mia Zito, and she goes to May River High School. I'll read a quick little bit about her. She'll get a certificate from us and our coin. And if she needs guidance, or if she ever wants to reach out to any of us, I know any of us would absolutely love to sit with her, or any of our students, to give them guidance and answer any questions they have. She's been an exceptional student when it comes to understanding the COVID-19 era of education. Out of all of this teacher's students, Mia was the one who took the time to ask how the teacher was doing and give kind words consistently of appreciation. I am also aware of Mr. Bornshire, that he had a similar occurrence with Mia when he was giving the news to the drama department that their monologue was canceled. The show was canceled. Instead of being sad, Mia asked him, Mr. B, how are you doing? I feel you are stressed. She's always thinking of others on her behalf. She's respectful to her teachers and her surroundings, and she really appreciates the teachers that are putting up with so many more rules and constraints than in the past. So Mia, congratulations on behalf of all of us, and I hope we get to see you soon in person, and we hope you have a wonderful year at May River and you stay safe. Next is Martin Luther King presentation. I'm sad we are not in our theater like we've always had it, but We had to change with this too, but we do like to honor a wonderful, amazing man and would like to read this proclamation because this is an event that the town celebrates and sponsors and partners with the committee. Whereas January 15th, 1929 was the birthday of a great American, the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who gave his life for love, peace, and justice. Whereas the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. celebration is sponsored and hosted annually by the Bluffton Martin Luther King Jr. Observance Committee. And whereas the town of Bluffton is committed to pursuing the ideals of justice, love, and peace, and in Bluffton's 35th celebration, the theme shall be community or chaos, from a dream to executing a vision. Now, therefore, I, Lisa Salka, Mayor of the town of Bluffton, along with Bluffton Town Council, designate and proclaim Monday, January 18th, 2021, as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the town of Bluffton. We are honored to have the chair of the MLK committee sitting on our council. Ms. Frazier, you are helped with this for the past many years, and do you want to give us a little overview and say a few words? You're welcome to.
Absolutely. This is our 36th celebration of MLK weekend here in Bluffton. And we've pivoted a little bit because of the pandemic. So some of the events for this weekend celebration will be virtual, with the exception of Monday's event. So we begin on Thursday, which will be a forum, which will be streamed via Facebook on the Bluffton MLK Observance page. So be sure that you're subscribed to us and you're following that. On Saturday, we will have a virtual showing of the Black Excellence Ball, and we'll announce the winners for this year's ball. And we have categories that range anywhere from Educator of the Year, First Responder of the Year, Best Small Business. So there's several categories and several awards which will be given out. So please tune in for that. On Sunday, we have a limited seating screening at Cinemark on Buck Walter of the movie Selma, which will follow with a discussion on the film, highlighting where we are since the events of that very famous march. We had reserved about 40 tickets. I think we have like 15 tickets remaining. So anyone interested in attending that can purchase tickets at Eventbrite. All participants will be temperatures will be checked prior to entering the theater, and everyone's required to wear a mask. It is a over capacity seating, so there's going to be more than enough space in the theater room that we'll be in. And then Monday will be the final event. We will have a car parade, which will proceed from the Bluffton Eagles Field, and we'll go through the town of Bluffton, and we'll return back to the Eagles Field for a brief memorial program, and then our final gala market for the season until spring. So we're asking everyone to, if you go to our Facebook page, it lists those events just to give everyone a reminder of what's going on. And all of our events are for everyone. So we're looking forward to hosting and seeing everyone this year.
Great. I have a question. I know we will share it too on our Facebook pages if we can share it from yours, but on the virtual events, how do you just go on your Facebook page and watch it, or do you want someone to sign up, or how do you do that?
They can watch everything from the Bluffton MLK Observance page, okay. And we will stream it on our website as well. And then it'll be on some of the members' personal pages. But anyone who's liked our Facebook page, and it is the Bluffton MLK Observance page, they'll be able to view it there.
Right, Bluffton MLK Observance. So y'all take that in and like it, and it'll be a great lineup. So a little different, but great committee and great program. So please follow us, and we'll make sure we share it. But if you want to get straight to the page, it's the Bluffton MLK Observance Committee. Okay, thank you. Every year we have updates on our development agreements. It's in the development agreement that we have, and Palmetto Bluff is our largest and longest, and we have David O'Donoghue and Dallas Wood, who always come in on a yearly basis, and we welcome them here. And I see Dallas connecting. David, are you a 1377 telephone number? Is that you? Do we have them? Kim, David. Oh, here we go. Okay. So Dallas is connecting to audio. Mr. O'Donoghue, do you hear us? Are you in?
Yes, we hear you. How are you?
Great.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Are you going to be making a presentation or are we just going to listen?
Yeah, we have a little slideshow which I'm told I can share screen when the opportunity comes. We're going to flick through a couple of slides.
Okay. Well, you're up. It's your spot.
Okay, wow, that was quick. So, Happy
Here we
New
go.
Year, everybody.
We can see it.
Okay, so just a quick, I'm not sure how much time we have. So I've got about 45 minutes before we take remarks. Strap in. We'll get you out of here by 10 o'clock tonight, if that's okay. So Dallas and myself are going to just chat through some things. Obviously, we are still living in COVID. So just a reminder, back in March, the town and county issued the restrictions. We closed the hotel on March 20th. At that time, we did close our gates to the general public. We are looking forward to reopening them sometime soon in the near future, but we still remain closed to the general public. We initially furloughed about 250 employees. The good news was we were able to bring them all back. We reopened the hotel on June 4th, and we limited occupancy for the summertime, no more than 50%, and then we creeped up to 60%. We remain with many restrictions, half the seats in our restaurant, half the equipment in our pools, fitness, etc. Our associates take temperature checks every day coming in the gate. We have no large meetings. We work from home. I'm wearing a face mask. We maintain social distancing, all of that stuff. We have had probably more than 100 positive cases amongst our workforce since March. Sadly, we had a fatality that had COVID related. And we're in the middle of a mini surge right now. I am not sure of the total number of our resident base. We have 750 CO'd homes. During the height of the stay in place, we had about 500 homes occupied. We know of multiple cases, but we don't have a definitive number. We did get the opportunity through our company and Montage created an employee relief fund. We asked our strategic partners and residents and associates to contribute. We raised about $385,000. We partnered with Bluffton Self-Help. They have completely managed the fund on our behalf. 250 donors participated, and close to $290,000 has been distributed to 252 of our associates. So a wonderful response to that. We went into the year with two pieces of our real estate on this exhibit, an extension of our moorland, both what we call M1 and M5. We have successfully brought them to almost CFC. M5 is not only CFC'd, we did the final lift yesterday and it's fully sold out. And we are now expanding into what we call M3 and M4 and River Road, approximately 180 lots that we'll bring on first sale this year. We have 1,180 lots sold out of our total development plan of 4,000, and we are continuing to expand. This is This is what we are doing next. We're currently digging lakes and planning roads, and we hope to be selling this parcel by third quarter. We are actively selling this parcel. This is the remaining parcel in our Mauldin village, which opened in 2018. We launched this the week of Thanksgiving as paper sales, and we plan to have it substantially complete by second quarter and CFC by third quarter. This year, we will, as I said, bring on 175 new home sites. We're adding a kayak bridge over one of our lakes. It's actually a bridge that kayaks goes under, not a bridge that kayaks go over. We're adding another 40 home sites in our River Road. We are commencing the road to our marina site. It's about an 8-mile road. It'll take 24 months with planning, engineering, infrastructure, but it'll bring the physical road and the utilities and our trail system to our marina site, which is in the southwest corner of the property, with great views of the Fuski and Savannah. We are doing our shooting clubhouse, which will be completed by the third quarter. We continue to upgrade and improve our farm. We continue to add miles and miles of trails, both physical on the road and in our inland waterway and our equestrian. We're adding 3 miles of trails. We have partnered with the Ramsey Company, who are going to open the Soro Wellness Facility. This is a 30-acre site that will have independent living, assisted living, memory care, and also full doctor, dentist, rehabilitation, medi-spa services for all Palmetto Bluff residents, and because we are open to the public as well. We have also sold a small parcel to a resident who's going to build a high-end storage facility, which will include some services. He's talking about dog grooming and a few other things. And all of us are emotionally connected to our river house, which was the original lobby arrival sequence for the hotel back in 2004. And that building needs a lot of love and work, and we are going to close it next week and spend $2.5 million bringing it back to its glory and reopening the River House restaurant by late third quarter. This is a site plan of the proposed storage facility. I believe they will be in the town in the next week or two. It's Citadel, great people, really exciting, everything from RV storage, boat storage, and traditional 10 by 10, 20 by 20 storage. As I mentioned, slides are moving slower than my voice. This is the site plan for the Soro Wellness Facility. It's on the corner of Old Palmetto Bluff Road and Old Mauldin Road, adjacent to our equestrian facility. It's a commercial site that's always been in our land plan. They are working with Court Atkins, a local architect, to meet our design criteria. And I believe that in the next 60 or 90 days, they will be in the town presenting to you. We look forward to that. I'm going to hand it over to Dallas to talk about what's going on in the new Riverside Circle area.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's well. First off, just like to thank staff, Mark Orlando, Town Council, and Miss Lisa Sulfur for all the hard work that y'all have done for us over the years. We really appreciate the partnership. For New Riverside, for those of you who may not know, we were the master developer of the New Riverside parcel, and we worked with Town Council to create the New Riverside concept plan. It was around a dozen parcels that we carved out and sold to other developers to create wonderful communities off of New Riverside. In that, the Palmetto Bluff Company made about a $14 million investment for traffic patterns for Bluffton in the New Riverside area. So you're looking at this as the New Riverside traffic circle, just to orient everyone. And that was what we did as part of our part for the Bluffton community, which not only handled the traffic for New Riverside and the Palmetto Bluff development, but as well as the outside community. And also I wanted to reference some of the past partnerships that we've done with the support of Mayor and Town Council and staff. If we're looking to the left side of the traffic circle, that is now what we refer to as the town park. A lot of work that we did to go in with council and staff to create just a wonderful open space that we donated and sold the New Riverside barn to the town of Bluffton, so that could be enjoyed in perpetuity as open space for all of our residents. And to the right, there's a really exciting village coming up now that staff and we have worked together with a new developer to create the New Riverside Village. And if you're going down below, I'm sorry, our thing's running a little slow. Why is that not working? We have a site exhibit of that. So we're going to try to get that exhibit for everyone to see. And here it comes. Okay, so this is the, this may not be the latest plan, but this is just a concept plan of what the New Riverside Village is going to look like that we've all worked together. And again, this is not the most current, but we just wanted to provide an illustrative for that. And another thing that most of you will probably remember for New Riverside, just to reiterate, just how well and, that we all work together and partner to create, what a wonderful community we have, is if you recall back there was an area right outside the gate that was part of the old Pamela Bluff mainland tract, which is now part of the new Riverside development. We all came together and figured out what can we do for our part to reduce density in the headwaters of the May River in the sending zone. And so we all worked together and we were able to commit to transfer 1,300 dwelling units outside of that parcel. I know, Mark, you remember that, and Lisa, we all worked very hard and partnered together to remove 1,300 units to help protect the headwaters of the May River. That was quite some time ago, but I'm really excited about that, and just wanted to commend everyone and just remind everyone of how we all work together. And again, we'd just like to thank everyone for your time, and we appreciate our relationship.
Yes,
Super.
just to close, Lisa and team, as Dallas said, we truly view this as a strategic partnership. We talk, and Lisa has been in the room when we've said it, that Bluffton is 54 square miles and we're 30 of them. We are part of Bluffton and we value that and honor it. We are truly blessed to live in this bubble, and we obviously have not suffered as much as a lot of people in our great nation. And we look forward into 21 to go onwards and upwards, and happy to answer any questions or comments you might have, Lisa, at this time.
Any questions of council on this?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Bridget.
Just a general question. Is there a particular number you're looking for in terms of like a decrease in cases before it's open back to the general public, or is it a separate time frame you're working on?
It's a great question, Bridget, and to be candid, I don't have a definitive answer. Lisa and Mark and myself and Dallas have talked monthly since this happened in March. We've kicked the can down the road every month and said, we'll wait a month. We thankfully did not have a super spreader per se recently, but literally in the past week, the reason why I'm sitting in an office wearing a face mask is we had a fairly large outbreak here at Palmetto, completely unrelated, but 13 of our hotel associates and 4 of our own. So obviously the great news coming out with a vaccine, I think, high level, we need to get past this New Year's bump and the kids back to school. We had hoped when we closed in March to open in July. When we met with Lisa and Mark in July, we'd hoped August. When we met in August, we'd hoped September. I would love to say sometime in the early second quarter, but it's really dependent upon what happens regionally and nationally. And I'm sorry, that's a kind of a two-sided answer, but I can't give you a definitive.
Thank you.
We miss you guys. We opened an ice cream shop and nobody from Bluffton has been able to come and get a scoop. So we look forward to getting everybody here for scoops of ice cream.
Great. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much,
Lisa, thank you.
David,
Appreciate your time and support.
Dallas. And we'll see you before next year, and we'll stay on top of all that's going on. And anything else from y'all, Dallas, anything?
No, I meant to say earlier, and if y'all would like to come out and tour Palmetto Bluff, obviously in a safe distance, please let us know. We'd love to show y'all what we're doing. Always would love any opportunity. If y'all would like to reach out, please contact David or myself. You can follow us in the cars, but we'll do our part to maintain social distance, but we'd love to get y'all out here, in a safe manner, and just look forward to seeing everyone soon.
Well, we'll put Mark or someone at the staff on that. If anyone would like to do it, I think there's, councils change every 2 years or stay the same. And there's so much that y'all have left to do. I know the marina is down the road, and all the land that was put under a conservancy. I think it'd be really great for any of us to go out and get a refresher. I would love one. So council, if you'd like to do that, we'll get Mark or Scott to arrange it with Dallas and David, and Bridget's giving me a thumbs up. So I know you got 2 that are interested. So
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next we have public comment. Let me go back. The other development agreement updates, Heather puts a lot of work into them, and they're under our consent agenda. So please take a minute to look at it. These, were put together from 1999 to mid 2000s, and some of the people just aren't around. Some have closed up. some we've shut down, but please look at that. You'll see efforts of past councils and staff on where people are, and it's under consent agenda for everyone who's listening to read, and even our council. So public comment, I don't think we've changed too much on how we do public comment, and I've been reading in the paper of late, other councils are kind of taking on our way. When meeting in public, you have to be in public to either read your online comment or read it in front of us. When we've been on Zoom, it's been really hard. Kim would take they would still fill the form out. Kim would read it. Every hope was for us to be together tonight. And I think we all want to find a way to be together, but it's just not working with the numbers. So we're taking that next step where I think commissions and us all miss hearing the voices of the people making the comments. So we have moved another step that if they want to speak at public comment, they do fill out the form online, and then Kim and Tommy put them in a waiting room, and then they're going to be able to speak their own public comment for 3 minutes. Now there's a timer that's going to cut you off at 3 minutes automatically. Please know that. And just kind of keep an eye on it. Get what you want out first and foremost, just in case you talk lengthy like me. But so that happened. We've had some today, Kim and I've talked, that didn't understand our process and they just wanted to email public comment, but they didn't want to give a name or address. And that's required by our code to put it in the record. So if people didn't want to do that, then we have asked them to send their comments to us. So if any council gets something random, if you just include all of council and Mark, that'd be great. It will not go to public record, but I want to make sure they have access to us. So just wanted everyone to know that you were going to hear them. And we have, I think, some signed up, Kim. So I am going to
do. And with all that said, we've got a few in the waiting room that their phone numbers don't match the numbers that they filled out on public comment.
Okay.
We're going to do our best to kind of shuffle those that we're unsure of in. Hopefully we don't mess that up, but the phone numbers aren't matching the form.
Well, and do they hear us right now, Kim?
They do, yes.
Okay. Before the 3 minutes start, if you don't give me your name and address, I've got to stop and get it because Kim has to have that for minutes. So I won't interfere in your 3 minutes, but if you don't give me your name and address, if we can just stop timer and let me get that from them, I'd appreciate it. So this is all new. We're going to give it a shot. We're not going to see them, but we're going to hear, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Okay. Are you keeping the track of who?
I will time if you will call the names out.
Okay. So do I start with what you sent me?
Yes.
Okay. Chantel Richardson. And do you want me to give it? Okay. Before you do that.
Hold on a minute. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
You sent me 9. So we have 9 public comment tonight.
We need,
That's one of the ones that doesn't have.
that
the
doesn't
number.
have a number. Okay.
Well, we'll come back. Do you want to come back?
Yeah.
Okay. Justin Jarrett.
Okay. Let me share my screen. I'm sorry, guys.
He should be in there now.
All right.
Hold on 1 minute.
Hold on. Let me get to my timer screen. I'm used to doing this.
Hey, Lisa, sorry, you
hey.
caught me.
Okay.
Do we have Justin? I see a number. Justin.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, you caught.
Yes,
This
sir.
is Justin.
Name and address,
you-
Justin, and then we'll start your timing.
Justin Jarrett, 279 Station Parkway in Bluffton.
Thank you.
First of all, just thanks to Mark Orlando for your work. Best wishes in Hilton Head. But really, I'm calling to voice my support for Councilwoman Bridget Frazier. As you all know, there have been some outrageous attacks from some members of this community who, frankly, have shown their true colors over the past several months. And I don't think these individuals' actions in recent months, which include terrorizing employees at local businesses who attempted to enforce a mask mandate and posting the videos on social media, and then appearing at the insurgency at the U.S. Capitol last week. With those actions, I just don't think these individuals' opinions of Councilwoman Frazier are relevant to her ability to serve her constituents, which, as you know, she has done with the utmost respect for the office. Bridget's dedication to serve her community is apparent in everything she does. And you know, her commitment to stand up for social justice, even when it's not convenient or beneficial to her, is something that every elected official and every citizen should strive to emulate. So y'all know Bridget Frazier. Bluffton needs Bridget Frazier on town council, and she should never be asked to compromise her values or her commitment to representing all the people of Bluffton. I also have a friend, Donna Fonseca, who was unable to attend tonight, but did submit her comment to y'all. And she just wanted me to mention that she wants to be on the record that she supports Councilwoman Frazier as well. And I just wanted to put my voice on the record to that effect, because I've seen what Bridget has done in this community, and it goes above and beyond what almost anyone has done in this community. It's certainly above and beyond the people who are trying to tear her down right now. And we've seen it before, and we'll see it again, I'm sure, but I'm going to be here to stand up for her next time too. That's all I got to say. Thanks again to Mr. Orlando for your service to Bluffton. You've done a great job. This town's better than it's ever been, and it's going to get even better thanks to people like Bridget Frazier and y'all. So thank you very much, and thanks for your service to this community.
Thank you, Justin. And you heard him say Donna Fonseca is not on the line, Kim. Do you want to
Yes.
double check? Okay, so we won't call her. But I get for the record, you'll put his comment, what he
Yes.
said to her. Good. Okay. So we'll skip over her. Chantel Richardson, do we have her? I'll keep going back to her after everyone's, she was the first. If not, Candace Hartnett, and that's a 7032 number.
That's the 619 number.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want the first
We
three?
go. Oh, she's video.
Oh, good. We'll see your face.
Hello,
Hello, name and address, please, ma'am, and then we'll start your 3 minutes.
no problem. My name is Pastor Candace Hardnett. I am located in Savannah, Georgia, 21 Cobblestone Court.
Thank you, ma'am.
I am, like I said, I'm not a resident of Bluffton. I'm a pastor that pastors people that live in Bluffton. I'm speaking on their behalf, as well as mine. I, through them, have had the pleasure of following Councilwoman Frazier, and I've seen her to be a woman who cares tremendously about her community. I understand that there are those that want to remove her from office simply because they disagree with something that she did. When someone reports criminal activity, they should be hailed a hero. When our government officials do it, they should be commended for their bravery. Removing Councilwoman Frazier would send a message to the community, to the children, and to those all the way here in Savannah that Bluffton Council condones criminal activity, and council men and women are to remain silent when it comes to it. This is not acceptable. Councilwoman Frazier displays a type of bravery, I can't speak tonight, that we all should want in our government officials. A bravery I pray that council men and women tonight will display in dismissing any calls for her removal. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Pastor. And please keep us in your prayers.
We certainly will. Thank you.
Helps. Thank you very much. Jody Shrutek. I like the video, Kim.
Yeah, I do too.
Jody.
She's connecting
Okay.
to audio. There we have her. Jody.
Jody. Hi, give me your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Sorry, I think we might be having,
Do you want to try it? You want to wait a little bit and come back? Can you hear us?
pardon me, I can hear you all. I'm not sure if I can hear you on the Zoom.
No, that's okay. 3 minutes. Give us your name and address. We can hear you.
Very good. Jody Shrutek. I live in the farm here in Bluffton. I'm going to read.
Address. Please give us your address, Jody.
Full address is 431 Gardner Circle in Bluffton.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm going to read a prepared statement. Good evening, Mayor Solka and members of the council. I write today with a heavy heart as the backdrop of political and civil unrest in our country reaches a crescendo. Now more than ever, elected officials are tasked with sharing information responsibly, communicating with the public effectively, and executing their duties with integrity. This week, we have seen the consequences of those who spread lies and misinformation for political gain, amplify division, and pervert civic responsibility as an assault on freedom. As much as we would like to believe it, not even our beautiful little town is isolated from the current climate. I urge each of you to do your part to lower the temperature and be an example of the best of Bluffton, a town known as a place where people take care of each other. That doesn't mean any of us should turn a blind eye to hate. Quite the opposite, in fact. Now is the time to show one another that Bluffton does not tolerate bigotry or excuse those who would march alongside Nazis or subvert the efforts of Congress in executing their constitutional duty as having a, quote, difference of opinion. Ethical leaders at the local and national level are striking a balance between holding people accountable for sowing discord and tempering hateful and divisive rhetoric. Bridget Fraser is this leader who has shown through years of service to her community how to strike such a balance, whether it is organizing efforts to feed the hungry, working on the Bluffton MLK committee, or most recently by supporting working families in offering virtual learning environment for school children during the pandemic. Bridget is out in Bluffton making a difference. She exemplifies the best of Bluffton. If any of you have found that you've lost your way recently as a leader, be like Bridget. Thank you. That's the end of my statement.
Thank you, ma'am. Sherry Lee. And after this, I'll check on Chantel Richardson, but Sherry Lee. Do you see your number, Kim?
Yes.
Okay.
Sherry?
Yes,
Hey, Sherry, give us your name, address, and you have minutes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear all that.
Oh, we just need you to start with your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Sherry Lee. My address is 20 Dawn Sky Court, Bluffton, South Carolina, 29909. And I am here asking to speak on behalf of Bridget Fraser, who is being maligned because she spoke out against 2 musicians from this area who were at the Capitol last Wednesday participating in the insurrection. It is my understanding that they have posted photos of their attendance and support of that event on Facebook. Bridget has called attention to those 2 musicians per the FBI request. I have read the article in the Island Packet and understand the escalation. What concerns me is that supporters of these musicians have asked her to be fired as council member. Obviously, I am asking you to take a stand in supporting Bridget and make it clear that these supporters don't get to dictate what happens because of their threats. The entire United States is in an upheaval right now, so I understand how tough your job is. Part of that is making sure you protect your citizens from violence. I suspect the FBI will be questioning more suspects in this area in the next few weeks. In fact, I read today that the state of South Carolina has assured its citizens that anyone participating in this insurrection will be sought out. People died, lives were threatened, there was destruction of the Capitol building and theft. We have been embarrassed as a country. Haven't we had enough of being okay with lawlessness? I am supporting Bridget Fraser and ask that you not only not consider any reprisal against her, but that she be encouraged by you to do what the FBI has already asked, and that anyone else in Bluffton that participated in the destruction be sought out and their names given to the FBI. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Kim, Chantel Richardson? Then we'll
No.
jump- Okay, who is that? Sherry Lee? So Sharon Brown?
Sharon Brown's next.
Sharon Brown. Sharon, do you hear us?
No, she's not up yet.
Okay.
There she is.
Sharon, Miss Brown? I see it. Sharon Brown. Hello, how are you? Happy New Year.
Hi, you guys hear me?
I hear you. Name and address, Sharon, and then you know the drill, 3 minutes. Good evening.
Good evening, council people. My name is Sharon Brown, and I'm at 163 Buck Island Road.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you all so much. Happy New Year. Yes,
You're up.
you hear me?
Hear you fine.
Hey,
Your time is ticking, Sharon. We all hear you.
oh, that's not fair. So anyway,
We'll
wait a minute.
talk.
Something happened.
Keep talking, Sharon. We'll
Okay,
give you some
But I
grace.
can't because I'm talking over myself. So
Cut off Facebook turn down your volume on Facebook, Sharon,
y'all,
and then we'll restart you. It's a little malfunction. Can we restart her, please? Okay, Sharon, go.
Ready?
Yes.
I'm at 163 Buck Island Road, Sharon Brown. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. This is in reference to Buck Island and Simmonsville Road. This is for Mark Orlando. I know Mark's leaving. And my question is, we were supposed to be discussing about the neighborhood comprehensive plan for Buck Island and Simmonsville Road. Is that still going to be in existence for the new town manager to entertain with us for Buck Island and Simmonsville Road? Also, Heather, I'm still waiting to hear from you in reference to our meeting for Buck Island and Simmonsville Road. Now, I'm going to flip the switch for a moment and speak not about Bridget Frazier and the incident that happened, but how did we get to this point here? Because is there a double standard when it comes to a media release? I have never seen a media release on a town council member in reference to what this petition is about, with 43 people had a petition, 43. And how did that happen? That Mayor, you put out, and this is just a comment, out a media release on what these folks wanted to be done to Bridget, saying that she violated as a council member using, abusing her power. Well, if that be the case, there has been media talk about you, Mayor Salka, with Skip Hoagland, whatever his name, spoke about some things that he felt that you were using your power. We have also Larry Tuma with the Oyster Factory when it came to the repairs on the roof, that they felt that the money was spent, the grant money was spent with Mr. Tuma and was not supposed to be. So what is it? How do we put out a media release on town council members, and what information is supposed to be released? Because that was very unfair for Bridget to have to be subjected to that. And your statement was, Mayor Salka, it says, I do ask all residents, fellow town council members and staff members to remember each of us has to be mindful with working together to be a solution maker, not further divide us with this delicate time in America and our community. Well, that media release just divided us because it felt as if Bridget was being singled out with the media release on what somebody felt she was abusing her power. And we've never seen a media release on anything in reference to you council members and what was going on in the community back in those times when it was happening. So media release, you guys need to discuss what should be released and what shouldn't be released. Because that should have never came out from your chambers in reference to Bridget and 43 people putting out something that's just bogus because of their personal opinion. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. You guys take care. Mark, I'm gonna miss you. Take care.
Thank you, Sharon. Sarah Hurst.
We
Sarah
don't have
Hurst.
a number corresponding with her comment.
Okay.
So do we have a few numbers left in the
I have
queue?
one. How about Corey Ashby? Do we have a number for that person?
No, we have a couple of numbers. Well, we actually have 4 that are dialed in, but none of them correspond with.
Okay, well, let's pull.
Well, actually, Chantel Richardson just popped in.
Okay, let's go back to Chantel Richardson.
I'm admitting her now.
Thank you. Are you there, Ms. Richardson?
Not yet.
Okay.
There we go. Chantel?
Chantel?
I don't know what's going on.
We hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Chantel, I just need your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes.
Chantel Richardson, 7 Albert Green Lane, Bluffton, South Carolina, 29910.
Thank you, ma'am. You're up.
Good afternoon. How you guys doing?
We're good.
Good. So I just want to be clear that, it's a lot going on in the world, it's a little serious. I want to address the Bridget Frazier situation with Whitley Deputy today. I just feel that, for him we have to defend her character with all the work that she has done, I think is a little strange. I think her work speaks for itself. She's always been a servant of Bluffton, and it's just tough for us to believe that she is going through this today and have to defend herself to the town about her character. I also want to speak up on the fact that I'm not really sure where this gentleman lives, but if he do live in the town of Bluffton, we should also be very wary because he's not really having a color issue, he's having a government issue. And he has called out all of our electeds on the board. And I just think we might need to look into that because, from his posts and all the followers he have, they seem to have a government issue. So just protecting yourselves in our town of Bluffton, I think you guys need to probably look into that a little more. And I just want to just let everybody know, I got Bridget back 100%. The work that she do in Bluffton is more than I think anybody do or have done. And I think that her work that she do on a daily basis should speak for itself. Nobody's perfect and we're all going to make mistakes. But when it comes to someone testing her character, I think it speaks for itself. That's pretty much. And I just want you guys to work on protecting yourself and look a little bit more into that situation because I think it's more of a government issue he has going on.
Is that all, Chantel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so very much. And we weren't going to give up on you. You were first on our list, so we wanted to make sure we got you in tonight. Kim, do you want to bring the last two? How many numbers are there? Let's pull them up and we'll see who they are.
2 mystery numbers.
Okay.
You
Well,
bring
they had
them
to
in?
get, yeah, they had to get the call in from you, so maybe they're on
Right.
another line.
Tommy, you want,
843-707-1377.
Yeah, okay.
that's Sherry Lee.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we've already spoke to Sherry.
my bad. Oh,
That's okay. Let's not give their telephone number. I mean, I don't know if that's public info.
It
Okay.
shows on the screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want to give out information people don't want.
okay.
Who do you have?
Here's the next one.
Okay. Good evening. Hello? Do you see they're up?
Yeah, there's no response.
Okay. Hello, let's give it, hello?
This is Kathleen Duncan. I'm actually not here for the public comment
Ah,
section.
Kathleen. Okay, we'll stay in the room. But hey,
Okay.
how are you? Okay.
Hey.
Are there any others we might have in the room that are for other things, you think?
We have one more mystery number.
Well, let's just pull them up. We can say good evening.
All right.
At least we write that down that that's Kathleen. I don't know if she's here for a certain presentation, but at least y'all know her number.
And here's the last one.
Okay. Hello?
We're connecting.
Okay. Hello?
Nothing.
Hello, hello? Okay. Kim, I think it'd be good to call that number tomorrow and just say we tried
Okay.
and we couldn't get them. And if they'd like to email us, they're welcome to. I don't want to
Okay.
cut off their ability to speak. Well, I think that worked well. Council, are you okay with the way that is? We can keep doing this as long as we're meeting in Zoom? Okay, good. I see that. Okay, so moving on. Public comment is now over. We have communications from mayor and council. Anything from mayor and council?
Mayor, I just wanted to touch on the fact that I had sent out an email to each of you regarding discussions about revisiting the golf cart ordinance. And I did hear back from Larry, and I'm confident that you're in agreement with that. And if the majority of council is, or unanimous, I'd like to have Mark and staff go ahead and get with Bill again, Herb Kurzman, and see if we can move that ball forward.
Great. I did talk to Representative Herb Kurzman last night, and we kind of went over y'all's conversation. It's his delegation meeting where he asked requests of municipalities. And I told him I felt no one's really been against it. And he just needs a letter from Mark to get it going. I don't think it takes a lot of staff work. So Mark, is that something you can jump on and call Bill and find out what he needs?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, council. I'll get on that tomorrow morning.
Great. Thank you, Dan, for that, keeping that
Thank you.
in the front. Anyone else? Well, if no one, I'll jump in. I do want to respond for Ms. Brown. I do hope that BIS plan is on. I know we have like 4 months of agenda items. Heather, I do hope you reach out to her for a meeting and let us all know when that is. And I feel confident that is going to be part, even a strategic plan perhaps, or is that something that's set up for an agenda? Let's let her know so she can get it out to the community. And finally, I didn't make a press release. I made a statement, really one little sentence. I counted over 150 messages and emails from this weekend. Half of them were Sunday while I was at church. And I just felt I needed them to know our role as council and our role in this craziness we're all dealing with. It wasn't in any way to hurt or slight a council member, because none of us know everything, because not all of us are on social media to follow some of these people that I'm not even friends with. So I never judge before I see everything, but I did want to get that statement out. And I think a lot of people really respected that all 5 of us sit as a council to do better for Bluffton. And this will pass, but that was the reason. So it wasn't a press release. It was a statement from me. And I told all of y'all I was going to do it. So with that, anyone else?
Yeah, I wanted to say something, ma'am.
Ms. Frazier. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say always thank you to those who've been supporting me through the attacks of what's going on. And I'm just glad that those who are supporting me have decided to take the high road and are not giving in to the distractions, knowing that I will always be an advocate for all things right in Bluffton, and I will never be silent against any type of injustice or anything that would undermine what we've all committed to work for in Bluffton, and that is creating one Bluffton that works for everyone. And I just wanted to say thank you to them.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, let's move on. Chris, we have a workshop item, 2021 Consolidated Budget Update. Chris Forster, you are up. And this is a workshop item, so we're giving advice. We're not voting on anything. And
correct.
You got
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I will share my screen in a moment. Okay, so as you all know, we are fast approaching the next budget cycle and the budget process. The staff department heads are in the process of putting together their budget requests for next year, and we wanted to take a moment to look at where we are to date through FY21 and to give you an idea of where we think we may end up by the end of the fiscal year as we enter these discussions on the FY22 budget. So I'll briefly go, and I'll focus primarily on general fund tonight, because that is our main operating fund that we work out of. And so I'll go over the budget, general fund budget year to date, and the presentation I'll give has numbers through the end of November. At the time that these were due to you, we do not have December month-end data, so this is through November. I'll break down revenue and look at some of our major revenues and give you an idea of where we are at today and where we expect to be at the end of the fiscal year. I'll dive into a little bit into special revenues, our tourism revenues. Even though they are not budgeted funds, I know they are special interest as well. And at the end, I'll give you a consolidated look across all our funds where we think we may end up on fund balance. So this right here is a high-level look at revenues and expenditures through November, and this is typically in your monthly reports. Over here on the left-hand side, we have FY20, where we were in FY20 through November. We have FY21, this current fiscal year, through November, the difference in this column. And then we also have a budget through November where we expect it to be based on our budget and the difference there. So if you look at revenues, we are running about 241,000 better than the last year through November. And compared to budget, we're up about 600,000. So that is positive. And I'll go into this more in detail in future slides, but that is predominantly because of what we're seeing in new residential building permits. On the expenditure side, this is just for your information. It is tough to give an accurate picture of where we'll end up on the expenditure side, because a lot of there's attrition that occurs throughout the year. There's some vacant positions, as well as a lot of contracts that come to renew towards the end of the fiscal year. So there's a lot of expenditures that occur at the end of the fiscal year. So looking at property taxes first, we, even though bills were late going out from the county, we did contact the treasurer's office in early December for them to give us some numbers on what they expect the billings to be. So we got a good idea on where we will end up in 21 year end, and it is expected to be about $6.7 million, which is 3% more than last year. And we budgeted pretty much flat from the previous year actuals. And this is 37% of our general fund revenue. So it's an important revenue line item to track, and we're pretty confident it'll be around 6.7 million. Next, we have business licenses. This reflects about 12% of our revenues. The next slide, I'll go into some of the numbers around business licenses, but we didn't adjust our expectations here. We went into FY21 conservatively estimating revenues given the impacts of the pandemic and some of the shutdowns and the minimum reduced capacity of a lot of businesses and restaurants. So we've kept our estimates flat with what we originally budgeted. We're fairly confident that it won't be any worse than that, but not confident enough to say that we'll get any additional revenues there. This slide right here breaks down the numbers of business licenses that were issued. We took a 10-year look, so you can see kind of where we are this year compared to where we've been in the past. So this top line reflects where we were as of January 1, and business licenses are on a calendar year basis. The second line is the number of renewals by December 31, and then the drop-off is the difference. So as you see, every year there's a bit of a drop-off that is kind of netted out with new business licenses, but this year at 811 is fairly significantly larger than we typically see, and that can most definitely be attributed to what we experienced because of the pandemic. New business license issued were pretty on par with what we typically see. Obviously, there was an outlier year in 2017, but right around between 500 and 550 is typically what we would see. So the net change of business licenses was a drop of 302. And that is corresponds pretty well to the 12.6% reduction that we are expecting. As I mentioned, building permit revenue, we are doing very well this year from July through current. As you can see, new residential we're expecting it to be a lot more than where we originally budgeted at, and we're seeing permits, I think, 30% higher than where we did last year at this time. So we expect to be around 2.6 by the end of this fiscal year. One thing I want to point out here is the new residential, new commercial, and the residential plan check fee, which is essentially 50% of the new residential building permit. These three revenue sources are our growth. That is our growth revenue. This reflects about $2.1 million. If you add in development fees, which aren't on here, you're talking about $2.5 million annually of our general fund revenue operations supported by simply growth. So it is an important number that we need to track closely. And as we enter into next year's budget, and I meet with all you regarding budget figures and revenue estimates, I'll be diving deeper into that and kind of projecting out much further than 1 year, so that we can plan a little bit for the future as we reach build out and that revenue source begins to dwindle. Here's the look at special revenues, accommodations tax and hospitality tax. So accommodations taxes are actually doing well compared to where we estimated. We were extremely conservative going in, given the effects of the pandemic and the restrictions that governments put on it early on. We actually had a fairly good summer compared to what we expected. So we think accommodations tax will be a little bit higher than we were budgeted. Hospitality tax, we were not as conservative when we went into the fiscal year. So we don't think that we will meet that, but the net of the tourism tax will pretty much be even by the end of the year. And again, these are not budgeted funds other than the transfers to other funds to support CIP and a little bit that goes to general fund from hospitality tax. So this is more for information purposes. So here's the overall look at revenues and where we estimate them to be by FY21. So we think at the moment, as of mid-year, that we will be $400,000 more than what we originally expected going into the budget year. And again, that is primarily because of what we're seeing with building permits, and property taxes were 3% higher than we initially expected. The consolidated funds, so this is a consolidated look across all the 4 major budgeted funds: general fund, stormwater, capital improvement, and debt service. So if you go down to the bottom right of the slide, you look at where we were with the updated FY21 budget and then with the estimate for year end. So this includes FY21 revised budget, includes the budget amendment from October, I believe. And what you're seeing here, this budgeted spend down is essentially the spend down of the revenues that we have set aside for CIP projects. So every year you expect to complete significant CIP projects and expenditures, and it is budgeted to be spent down. As you all know, for CIP is a multi-year plan, and often there's a lot of carryover, which is what we address in that end of summer budget amendment. In the FY21 estimate, what you're seeing here is because of the bond proceeds. So if you can see my cursor here we have $5 million. That is from the bond proceeds that we issued. We issued that in December. And obviously we haven't spent all those down yet because we just got those bond proceeds. So that will be spent. Some of that will be spent this year, and then more will be spent next fiscal year and the subsequent fiscal year. So that is an overview of where we're at to date. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and open up to any questions. You're on mute.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is a workshop and I hear Dan, just questions. Is this something you like the way the format is that you'd like to see in the next coming months, and questions to Chris? Dan?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so trying to understand all of this, basically our revenue stream was higher than what we'd originally projected. Is that correct?
Correct, for certain categories, yes. The major categories.
Yes, overall, I'm looking at the consolidated overall budget, and I think that number, like in the general fund, was up $400,000.
That is a year-end estimate.
Fund balance increased 1.4 million. Is that correct?
For FY20?
Yes.
Yeah, yep.
And so the fund balance was still projected to increase. I think when we were doing the budget, I brought this up, about another $500,000. So I guess what I'm trying to get at, and you can help me with this, is our unrestricted fund balance was still 12.3 million. Is that correct?
As of FY20? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me make sure that I give you actual numbers. I'm pulling up. Yeah, so in the general fund, unassigned fund balance is 12.2.
And then we have almost 13 million set aside restricted, which includes the 15% emergency and the 25% a fund for whatever.
Yep.
Now, I guess the good thing I just heard you say a moment ago was, I think I've understood correctly, we would be spending down this fund balance significantly. Is that correct?
Well, again, that's primarily because we're budgeting that you'd spend the budget amount for CIP projects. So obviously, you have multi-year projects, you have accumulated revenue that was set aside for projects, and as those get completed and spent down, that's what that's showing. As we all know, as I mentioned, there's often carryover as projects span multiple fiscal years. So it's tough to say where we will be on that side, but yes, right now it shows a $5 million spend down.
And the main point, Chris, that I'm driving at is the unrestricted fund balance. I'm assuming that 70% ratio would drop down to a lower number is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, that what you're seeing, the spend down, that was on the consolidated, so that includes the CIP fund. So that comes out of CIP fund. So that would not be the unassigned general fund balance.
All right, so are we saying that the unrestricted dollars will continue to grow, or will they decline?
It will most likely grow, but again, we have another 7 months or so. But as of right now, it will probably grow some.
Okay, then I just wanted to point that out to council, that when budget time comes, we all pay attention to that, since we had this discussion prior. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Dan. Any other questions of council? This is a workshop. Suggestions? I do have a question on business licenses. Chris, did you see from our resiliency plan where we extended the payment of business license? And you don't have to answer it tonight, but do you have a number of those who paid later, or were some of those the numbers in the businesses that didn't renew?
So the numbers I presented in my presentation is on a calendar year basis, so it would have captured the majority of those that paid out, with the extended deadline. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. It was a very, very significant amount that took advantage of that delayed due date.
As we get closer, I'm just curious and then we all will know, did it help them? What was the feedback from that? Any other questions? Thank you very much. That you're still up, but let me go back to my agenda. That is a workshop item. We'll start seeing, we're going to be talking about budget for the next 5 months, probably often with several workshops. So we'll get those calendar dates out to everyone soon. So we have our 3 formal items. The first is the acceptance of the presentation of the Town of Bluffton FY 2020 audit by Mauldin and Jenkins. And Chris, you're up on this.
Thank you. So we have with us tonight Trey Scott. Tommy, if you could let him in. I don't know his number off. There he is. Okay. And he is with Mauldin and Jenkins. This is their 3rd year doing the audit of the Town of Bluffton. And at this time, I'll hand it over to Trey.
Hey, Trey, welcome, and you're on mute.
I make sure to mute on my laptop and in Zoom just to be safe. So thanks for pointing that out for sure. Again, thanks, Chris. My name's Trey Scott. I'm the partner who oversaw the audit of the town's 2020 CAFR, and I'm pleased to be with you all here this evening to present the results of that audit. I think you all were provided, and Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, a couple of documents in PDF form. One was the full CAFR. It's the one with the prettier cover, the blue cover. That's your audited CAFR. And then the other is what we call our auditor's discussion and analysis. It's a little bit more plain of a cover. So if you wanted to follow along with me, feel free to pull that up and follow along. But If you flip past the first couple of pages there, it gives you a little bit of information about who we are as a firm. More specifically, our governmental practice. We were founded in 1918. We just celebrated 100 years, something we're pretty proud of. We audit approximately 500 governmental entities throughout the Southeast. About 126 of those are cities and towns like you all. And then the engagement team that serve the town is down there at the bottom of that page. And then flipping on to page 3, just some additional industries that we serve and services that we provide. But I think of particular importance to you all is on page 4, and that discusses our independent auditor's report. I think, as you all know, that CAFR is the responsibility of management, and it's our responsibility as your auditor to provide opinions on that financial information based on our audit. And I'm pleased to report to you all today that we were able to issue the town a clean opinion. It's what we call an unmodified opinion. And what that basically means is that your financial information presents fairly in accordance with all the applicable governmental standards and statements. So that's what you're looking for, a clean opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that we can provide as your independent external auditors. I think it's also important to note that we had no audit findings. We had no management points. And I think that's just a testament to the hard work that the finance department does, Chris and his team, on a daily basis, and definitely something they should be commended for. It's very refreshing from an auditor standpoint to see folks who care a lot about what they do, care about doing the right thing. So we do truly appreciate that from your auditors, I guess. So. And if you are following along with me, the next section is just kind of an overview of your financial statements. And again, these numbers are as of June 30, 2020. I did listen a little bit to what you all were talking about right before I came on and the 2021 budget. So these numbers are a little bit older, so I won't spend a whole lot of time on them. But I did want to point out, one of the questions I get a lot, and this isn't the objective of an audit to tell you whether or not the town is healthy, but I get a lot of questions in meetings like these is, how are we doing? Are we healthy? And one of the places that I always tell folks to look is at your general fund balance. The general fund, the big brother fund, right, of the town. And the GFOA, who kind of is the overseer of the CAFR program, they recommend that you have about 2 to 4 months at a minimum, all right, in your unassigned, unrestricted, so anything that's not restricted or non-spendable, so everything outside of that, about 2 to 4 months worth of general fund expenditures in that general fund balance. And you all had at June 30 a little over 8 months. And that is a very good, healthy fund balance, especially when you're running through situations like we just went through or continually going through over the past 10 months. So we also are in the coastal region as well. So we've got to have contingencies there too. So again, looking at your general fund balance, it's a good, healthy number of about a little over 8 months worth of expenditures. Again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on the numbers. I don't want to get anything confused with what Chris was talking about earlier versus what we reported at June 30th of 2020. But I did want to make sure to point out that fund balance number. So the next section just talks a little bit about your footnotes. There weren't really any significant changes as it relates to those. If we keep on moving over to page 11, there are just some required communications, things that government auditing standards require us to communicate to you all. I'm not going to read them to you. The first little section just talks about our responsibility as your auditors. We kind of talked about that already. The next 3 sections talk about your accounting policies, your judgments and estimates that are reported, and your financial statement disclosures. And all we're saying here is that those are the responsibility of management, and they're very integral parts to your financial statements. The last few pieces in this section that I wanted to make sure I touched base with you on were we had no significant difficulties in performing our audit procedures, had no disagreements with management. We had no significant issues that we had to discuss with management. We had no auditor proposed adjustments, so we had no past adjustments, and wanted to also make sure that you all are aware that we are independent of the town in accordance with all of the applicable standards of our profession. And if you all want some light reading later on this evening, from page 13 to page 25 are all of the new GASB standards that are coming out, probably the most exciting part of this entire document. We don't anticipate any of these having a significant impact on the town. If we do, we will certainly get with Chris and his team and discuss the best course of action for implementation of those required standards. I think the last thing that I wanted to make sure you all were aware of is that we provide some value-added services only to our clients, free quarterly continuing education. I'm actually teaching this quarter's CPE that's coming up pretty soon. So we hope that town management, finance folks, anyone that's interested in the topic can take part in that. It'll be on a virtual platform, at least for this first quarter. So again, hope that you all can take advantage of that. And the same goes for our newsletters that we try to send out as regularly as topics are relevant to governmental accounting. So that pretty much concludes what I wanted to report to you all today. It's sure is a lot easier to come in and give good news versus bad. Again, a clean opinion, no findings, no management points. It certainly has been a pleasure to serve the town, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that relationship on into the future.
Thank you, Trey. Any
Sure.
questions of Chris or our auditor? Okay, if not, we need to accept this. So is there a motion to accept the fiscal year 2020 audit for the town of Bluffton presented by Mauldin and Jenkins LLC and its inclusion in the comprehensive annual financial report for the year ending June 30th, 2020?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion? Thank you again. And Chris, good job. Any other discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous. Item number 2, Heather, you were first reading on this. It's a consideration of amendments to the Town of Bluffton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, flood damage protection, specifically as it relates to the updates to the National Floodplain Insurance Program and FEMA's reevaluation of flood hazards in the Town of Bluffton reflected in the updated flood insurance rate maps. For first of 2 readings, Heather, thank you for presenting this tonight. You're up.
Okay, you should be able to see my screen there, hopefully. And like the mayor stated, I'm here tonight to present to you proposed amendments to the flood damage protection ordinance related to the National Flood Insurance Program regulations and the new revised firm flood insurance rate maps that will become effective March 23rd of this year. So the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, recently completed a reevaluation of all the flood hazards in the community, and that resulted in revised firm maps. Those firm maps have been under revision for a period of several years. They did go through the preliminary and study of that, went through the publication and the appeals period, so that has all been met, and that was all conducted by FEMA as well as the state and Beaufort County. So all of that information has been, went through the appropriate process. We do have some maps on the town's website that we've had throughout the public process that shows those changes. Because that flood insurance study report establishes the flood hazard determinations, and because that has been completed, there are certain additional requirements that must be met under those federal rules and regulations. And we received notification from them that all of that needs to be completed and amended no later than March 23rd of this year. And that is the same date, that is the same as the effective date of the firm maps that I just stated. These required amendments were part of an audit that the federal government and their state agencies did conduct for us. They reviewed our ordinances and outlined the things that needed to change. Many and most of which were simple just edits and verbiage. For example, you may see change of designation from the chief building official to the town manager and things like that. Just things to make sure that we are in line with those required changes. The state also reviewed the proposed changes that are in your packet and part of the proposed amendments, and they are all in line with those federal regulations and those mandates. And again, all of the proposed amendments do incorporate those required changes to move forward. And these changes are also required for our property owners and the citizens to remain to maintain their eligibility for flood insurance. So again, it's to make sure that we're aligned with those federal and state regulations and to meet that same effective date of the new revised maps, which I'll get into a little bit
in a minute here. The only other change that is in addition to the required changes from FEMA is currently there is a 1 foot of freeboard, and that is that additional difference between that base flood elevation. That is proposed by the town to increase to 3 feet for all new construction. And there's reasons that I'll go into here. The overall base flood elevation is decreasing or lowering by, I believe, 5 feet. So that additional 2 feet of freeboard will do a couple things. And that will, again, reduce flood loss, be a little bit more than that minimum. Like I said, the minimum code requires is 1 foot of freeboard. And again, that additional difference above flood level. It will also reduce insurance rates. The more freeboard that is required per municipality or county, whatever the jurisdiction, the more there is a cost savings to the flood insurance policy. Again, that 2 feet of freeboard will ultimately result in a drastic height deviation between what's new, what's currently required, and the existing. And this is a brief explanation as to why. Our current base flood elevation right now and prior to that March 23rd date ranges from 11 to 15 feet. We have 4 different special flood zones located within the town. The new BFEs that are effective in a couple months have decreased and will range from 5 to 9 feet. So that is, I believe I misspoke and said 5, but that's a 6 foot reduction. So even with an increase of 2 feet in freeboard, it still is a lower final building height that would be required as far as new construction. And again, results in a decrease in flood insurance premiums for those residents who choose to use that. Currently, right now, about 5% of the town of Bluffton is located in a flood zone. With those revised maps, that's reduced to about 3%. Primarily, those areas are along the river and also in Palmetto Bluff. I do have Richard Spruce, our chief building official, who is also our certified floodplain manager, here on the Zoom call as well to answer any technical questions. And I can also pull up the packet where included those maps and again, that proposed ordinance.
Great. Does anyone have questions of Heather or Richard? I have one. I don't have the full screen. I just see your question screen. Actually, I have 2. So if we require 3 feet higher than the base, and does that person get flood insurance based on what we require or based off what FEMA?
What we require.
What we require, okay. And then is the county seeing the same change? I mean, is the county's wiggling through us? This is the same information they have?
It's the same I'm sorry.
No, I'm done.
Okay. It's the same information we have in terms of what the those required changes are. As we always do, we look to our neighbors and see what they're proposing as far as specifically that freeboard requirement. The town of Hilton Head Island, as well as the city of Beaufort, are a little bit different in the different types of special flood zones they have. And I believe they both are maintaining an as-is base flood elevation. So it is actually even more freeboard than 3 feet. So they're maintaining whatever your be required to build at today. It results in that same elevation at the time of the new maps. We're a little bit more complicated, and we have 5 different special flood zones. And the city of Hardyville is doing 2 feet of freeboard. Beaufort County, because of just where they are in the process and the changes, we haven't been able to confirm exactly what they plan on moving forward with at this point.
And finally, are we making houses non-conforming by adding 3 feet, or are we still under what the 11 originally was? So we're still good.
Correct. We are still lower than what we are today. So it is a reduction. With the only exception is that there are some small areas within Palmetto Bluff that may now be in a flood zone that weren't before. However, we're not creating any nonconformities. Most of those areas are in undevelopable areas of Palmetto Bluff, so we don't anticipate any negative effects.
Any other questions of Heather or Richard?
Maybe if I could, Mayor.
Yes, Larry.
Heather, so I'm trying to figure all this out with the common knowledge of everyone realizing, and I know personally for a fact with the sea levels rising and the projections of them continuing to rise, throughout the future. I guess, was that taken in consideration, with our proximity to the river, the saltwater rising? We have water coming now where it hasn't come before in my lifetime, so to speak, on the regular basis. So that I'm sure that was considered in all this.
Yes, from my understanding, all of that was taken into consideration. I will say that, again, that's the reasons for some of staff's recommendation to raise it from the 1 to 3, just to be above that minimum. And there's nothing that precludes someone from building even higher, as long as they're POA or HOA, or if that is ultimately approved. But yes, my understanding is all of that was taken into consideration with the historical data. And I know this has been a project that FEMA has been working on for, I believe, since I've moved down here. So I believe at least 10 plus years.
It has been. It has been.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Great information. We have 1 of 2 readings. If there are no other questions, is there a motion to approve the proposed ordinance amending the Town of Bluffton Code of Ordinances, Chapter 19, specifically flood damage protection, specifically as it relates to the updates of the National Floodplain Insurance Program regulations and FEMA's reevaluation of flood hazards in the Town of Bluffton, reflected in updated flood insurance rate maps?
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you, Heather. And you're still up. Our last formal item, is consideration of the acceptance of Huggins Hollow LLC's 100% annexation petition to annex certain real properties contiguous to the Town of Bluffton's boundaries, consisting of 36.25 acres. And you see the several tax map numbers, which I won't list because it's on our agenda. Heather, first reading? No, this isn't first reading. This is consideration. Do we want to move forward? Sorry. Heather, you're up.
Just bear with me one moment while I share my screen again. Okay. Sorry, haven't mastered the multiple files yet on Zoom. Hopefully you can see, you should be able to see that now. And I know I do see Kathleen Duncan and I believe Josh Tiller also are the applicants here to help answer any questions that you may have. So again, this is consideration of just the acceptance of a request for annexation as described. Just real brief before I get into the presentation, back in October, there were revisions made to the annexation manual that essentially replaced this and added this as the initial step of an annexation request. So typically we had an intent to annex, which was an action by ordinance with a great deal of information, great deal of analysis, and it was recommended and ultimately approved by council to revise that annexation manual to simply accept the application through a vote. And again, so at this point, you will not see as much level of detail and analysis as you may have at the intent to annex. However, staff will certainly continue to, if this progresses, continue to provide that high level of analysis and background and answer any questions you have and moving forward. Back in August of last year, the application was received for approximately a little bit over 36 acres. Right now it is 6 parcels. It is property located on Gibbet Road and Huggins Hollow Lane and Jadestone Court, which is immediately adjacent to the Buckwalter PUD and the Lawton Station community. Pursuant to that annexation manual, in conjunction with the annexation request, they've also submitted a concurrent zoning map amendment application requesting that the properties be zoned as agricultural, and they would be subject to the Unified Development Ordinance. And again, as I stated, the annexation manual was recently revised as the initial step, simply for town council to accept the application, forward it to negotiating committee, or deny the acceptance. This here is a map that shows, if you can see my purple cursor here, the green area is the Huggins Hollow areas I've referred to it. This corner right here is the Lawton Station community and the Buckwalter PUD. So here's where it meets that continuity requirement for annexation. This map just outlines what's currently existing out on site, the structures, the parcel layout, and again, what is currently developed. It did want to share this. It does fall within that future annexation area, which is shown by the red dotted line. Here's right here where you can see that water, that lagoon area is the general location of the annexation request. And it also is identified in our future land use map as low density residential. The current zoning, again, if this progresses, I would have a lot more detail about this and be prepared, again, based on any comments that you may have to move forward. But the current zoning in Beaufort County is a T2 rural zoning district. The assumptions that I made were if the property was replatted as one 36 acre tract of property. That zoning district allows for 0.34 dwelling units per acre with one accessory unit. So based on that, they would be allowed 12 dwelling units and then 12 accessory units or mother-in-law suites or something to that nature. The other uses that would be permitted in the Beaufort County would be a campground or recreational vehicle park, rural small lot subdivision, and if it were developed under those requirements, it could be developed with 15 parcels, which would equate to 15 dwelling units and 15 accessory units. There's also a family compound development that's permitted in the county that would equate to approximately 41 parcels, and again, 41 dwelling units, 41 accessory units, or an RV or recreational development with private campgrounds, semi-developed campgrounds with a maximum of 200 campsites. If this progresses, they are also requesting just an agricultural zoning district designation. That zoning district in the town allows for single family detached residential at one dwelling unit per acre. So that would be 36 dwelling units. Any non-residential development is based on the form-based code, so the applicable lot standards would come into place. And I do have here some snippets of our land use table, or excuse me, our permitted use table that identifies some of those non-residential uses that would be allowed. So this second light green column is that agricultural district, and you can see where there's the P's and the C's. So horse riding school, limited commercial outdoor sales, some limited lodging uses, small bed and breakfast, home occupation permits, some health services, and things of that nature. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to go that fast. So that's what is currently permitted in that agricultural zoning district. Again, this is, it's the intent to annex. There are those, not to go too fast to the motion, but there's three different actions you could take, and maybe some others, but basically what staff is requesting that you either accept or decline to accept the application, and then further to either refer or forego the referral of the application to the negotiating committee. And I know Josh Tiller and, like I said, Kathleen Duncan are here to answer any other questions that you may have.
Thank you, Heather. We'll just open it up. Questions, comments?
I have a comment, or more so a concern.
Yes, Bridget.
And would certainly like to see how other council members might feel about it. But my concern is we know that we have issues currently with our donut holes. And I'm just wondering if this, in having this annexation, if this would be something that would add to our existing problem with the issue.
Thank you, Bridget. I'll let people ask questions and answer you. I'll answer you when I get to me on it. Any other questions? Do y'all want me to ask? Do y'all have a question right now? Larry?
Heather, yeah. Heather, can we put the map that shows what's county and what the town is? You know, the town boundaries I know Giblet Road is county. I'm trying to get to see what else is around it, other than just the particular connection to that development.
And I can bring up some other maps, but this is the general. So here is, just for point of reference, and happy to bring up more detailed information, is this here is the, can you see my purple cursor here? Okay, so this here is Lawton Station and is the Buckwalter Development Agreement. Here's Highway 170, so those front parcels there. Here's Gibbet Road right here, and I know it's small and I try to zoom in for you, but here, right here would be an extension of that dark orange area or those town boundaries. Here's May River Road and 46. So there's nothing in the municipal limits right here. But as you go up, Gibbet Road here, there's the new veterinary clinic and office areas that is located in the town of Bluffton. And then also right here on the corner, which is the Palmetto, the storage buildings. They're right on the corner of 170 and Gibbet. So this area right here is the area. So it'd be almost like this little extension, so to speak.
Yeah.
Close to the Buckwalter Development Agreement.
The top part of that, your cursor there, where it's right under the 170 mark. Yeah, the upper part, that. No, the light yellow, the beginning of the light yellow right there. All of the light yellow is in the county, correct?
Correct. All of that light yellow is in the county. So you had the convenience center that recently closed. You have, and then mostly homes all surrounding in the area.
So this parcel basically connects right there in that corner.
Correct.
Right there.
Correct.
And then comes down approximately like right in there, moving it.
Yes, sir.
So with the exception of that corner connection, it will still be surrounded by county.
Correct. Correct. Along Gibbet Road, it would be surrounded. So their neighbors on either side of Gibbet Road and across the street of Gibbet Road would still be in the county, unincorporated county, but their neighbors to the rear are located in the town in the Buckwalter Development Agreement.
But and what development is that right there?
Lawton Station.
So that's Lawton Station, which is a private development. I mean, a residential.
Correct.
Right. So access to that would come, it couldn't come from there. So it would have to come off of Gibbet Road, right? Where it currently.
Correct. And at this point, we don't have any anticipated, or we're not aware of any future development plans for this property. Just other than that they would like to annex in, be part of the town, follow the town's development review procedures and development, specific development applications and requirements. But at this time, we're not aware of or have any development plans for future development. But I would, I mean, unless they received approval to go through and gain access through here in Buckwalter Development Agreement, it would remain, I believe, on Gibbet Road here.
Right. Okay, that's all I have for right this minute.
Good. Let me go through everyone. Any other questions before I ask?
Yes,
Dan?
I have a question.
I got
Yeah.
Fred up
Go ahead.
first and you, Dan. Okay, Fred.
I need to see the comparison for what the agriculture, that zoning that they're requesting, that they're going to be looking to change, perhaps if they come into the town. What would be different if they came into the town?
At this point, because this is just the acceptance of the application, we did a very brief estimate as far as what it is. It's, the county is, some of the requirements related to campgrounds and some of the small lot subdivisions, what we've been able to assess and analyze at this point is the number of units. How it would lay out, I would have to refer to the county. But in general, depending on how it were to be developed, it could be as many as 41 homes or 200 campsites. In the town, it's a little bit different. It would be, if it were homes, it's 36 homes. And then there are a list of uses that are permitted Haven't done the complete analysis of all the specific uses other than that residential, but I believe we did capture all of them here. So there are different, so here's residential and campgrounds and recreational development. And then in the town, you have various permitted uses such as daycares, as well as parks, museums, artisan workshop as well, school, religious assembly. So some are different. But at this point, we haven't developed the side-by-side analysis. We're just,
Okay,
if we go further, we certainly will.
Yeah, if you go further, I would definitely need to see that.
Correct. We would.
At this point, has the applicant said to us why they rather come into the town, or can we tell because why they would not do the same thing in the county? Is what they want to do in Bluffton not allowed in the county? Those things are important to me.
I believe they are on the call. I can answer from what I've been told and understood is that it simply is that they want to be part of the town's process and procedures as to how we review and approve development, and it's as simple as that. If there's more to it, I would defer to the applicant who's on the call for specific reasons as to why. But like I said, at this point, they've said that we don't have any development plans or proposals moving forward, but that they would simply like to be part of the town.
Josh, are you the applicant? Josh Tiller?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to answer that, or did Heather's answer suit you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here on behalf of the applicant. That's Doug and Deanna Hubbard, and they might be on the call as well. But this isn't. We've been working on this a long time. We've spent a lot of time and effort reviewing this and going through the application process, because we started this process prior to this step becoming part of your procedure. So we have put together a fairly extensive narrative and comparison of the existing zoning to our proposed agricultural zoning. And for the most part, it's a pretty lateral move. We're not looking to develop the property residentially. The owners are currently renting. They've got a few manufactured homes on the property that they're renting. There's an existing home site there that they'd like to use for events, for weddings. The property is a beautiful property, and they want to preserve the existing character of that property. Over time, as some of these mobile home leases come up, they'd like to shift more towards an RV park, so people can experience the natural environment out there, in the two lakes that exist there. And that's something we'll further explore and further reveal if we're humbly requesting this consideration for review as a annexation. So any of those concerns you might have will certainly get explained throughout the process.
Thank you, Josh.
And we've even got a site plan prepared that shows what they're proposing for their RV resort as well.
Thank you, Josh. Fred, did that answer your question?
Yeah, and I know this is probably a little early, but Josh, that change in that community, if we move forward, we require that the community, the neighbors, are aware of that change as well. You know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Let's do a whole round through, then we'll start over. Dan, was that good for right now, Fred? Can we go to Dan?
Yes.
Dan, you're up.
Thank you. And Josh, good evening, you and Kathleen. We miss you on the Planning Commission. One of the things, back to Fred's comments, it appears your words, Josh, a lateral change more or less seems to be what it looks like on the surface. I did notice that the difference between the town of Bluffton and the county permitted uses, town allows 21, the county allows 11. Now I realize that you're not gonna, all the uses that are permitted by the town would not apply, that you necessarily want to do. One that did stick out to me was schools were allowed, I think, in the town of Bluffton at that site, not the county. That's a big change to that community out there if something like that was allowed. Residential wise, it seems like it's a wash. What's allowed in the county, what's allowed for the town of Bluffton. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that that's stuff that, as we were just saying, would have to be looked at and evaluated to determine, we're almost 100% more permitted, allowed on things in the town than we are with the county.
And one thing I want to
So,
add to that. Dan,
Sure. If
you
you
made a
could
good-
speak a little louder though, Josh, it's hard to hear you.
Okay. I'm sorry, my microphone is really bad on this computer.
That's better.
Can you hear me better now?
Mhm.
Okay. And one thing to point out, back when the county changed their community development code and adopted the new one in 2014, at that time, they assigned the T3 edge to that site. And the Hubbards actually downzoned their property to the T2 rural just so they could get the use for the RV park use, so they could operate the facility out there would like to do in the town. So it was originally zoned at a higher density, higher use at the time of the county's adoption of the new ordinance.
Is that a period after that? Are you finished?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm gonna ask a question. We can go back around. Bridget, I heard you. That was the first thing that popped in my mind about the concern of almost creating a donut hole. I am concerned about it being contiguous on one little right angle. It's a county road, a county residential, pretty rural area. I called a former councilman because I remember that this was brought to county council to turn into an RV park, I think. And I do remember the unrest of those residents. Now, it looks like we all,
Zoning Board of Appeals.
yeah, whatever it was a couple years ago. But I do notice we have the same use. It's probably the closest thing apples to apples we've seen. But I mean, my personal worry is they have no sewer. I don't know that they have water. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's a county road. We're kind of putting a community in the middle of a county for access for trash and recycling and police protection. And I noticed, we do need annexations to pay for itself. And I see a lot more residential use with maybe that RV park than what I see and when we did Buck Island Simmonsville Road, for example. So those are my concerns on this. I'll go back around. I've got a thought, but I'll see if other council members bring it up. But I agree with Bridget on this. I just think it's kind of in the middle. It's creating a whole nother series of outside the town. But no questions, just really a statement. Anyone else?
Yeah, I may comment here, Mayor. One of my biggest concerns on this is, like you say, it is basically creating another donut hole. Secondly, are all the people that live and own property all around there. Obviously, when the rest of the property was annexed in, they did not want to be in the town. I think the uses, just looking at this, there's a lot more that could be done if they were in the town, and then they could come and ask for a zoning change later. I know the family that's owned this property forever, and I definitely don't want to do any way not help them if we can, but I really don't see an advantage to the town as we try to curtail density and development, until our schools and everything, we can kind of somewhere, someday find enough of everything else to go along with the people that we've already permitted. I don't know that I could be in favor of this at this time. Hate to say that because they're good people that own it. I don't, in my opinion, I'm not sure that there's any benefit to the town. And it also kind of goes against what we're trying to do and curtail density and all that. So that's just kind of where I am right now. We'll see what everybody else says.
Any other any questions, follow-up comments? Let me go through Josh. Hold on and I'll remember that. Let me just see real quick. Anyone else? Bridget, you talked first last time. You want Josh to answer Larry's question? Let's answer Josh and then I'll see if there are any other thoughts.
One thing to know, they do want to use it for recreation, and that's going to bring in tourists to the town. And it's not all, they have no interest in developing this as a residential development. But they also want to utilize the existing home site for either bed and breakfast or a wedding venue. So there will be revenues generated there on the property. I don't see it as something that's going to cost the town. They're going to operate a business here. They're not looking to turn this into a residential development.
Josh, why don't they do it now? I mean, they really are, or go like, I mean, I got on council when Buck Island and Simmonsville wanted to come in and was there every meeting, went to everything. And we really required that neighborhood to do the work of bringing in the whole area. And they did. Those residents put sweat equity in it. And yeah, they could have done it piecemeal too, but we held them to a different standard. And this reminds me of that road. Why don't they do the work and get the whole road brought in? And let's do it the right way, because I think they can do all of that now. And just my thought on it. It just seems like we're little pits here and there, and we're going to cause more harm, more frustration and things on our police department, our waste management. I mean, are they now where they are? Well, if they do an RV campground, is that commercial? Do they expect to get recycling and trash pickup? It's just a lot when I don't think it pays for it. Just a thought. Questions, anyone else? Yes, sir. Josh, are you behind us a bit?
No, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, in part of our application, that's cost benefit analysis will, answer a lot of those questions.
Yeah.
So I understand there's a lot of unknowns here, but if we're at least given the benefit of the doubt to move forward to consider it, tonight wouldn't be an approval for an annexation or for the zoning. It's just to consider a review of the application.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those concerns that everybody has will be answered through that process.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from council on this? I hear nothing. I always see people leaning. Fred, were you leaning to ask a question or were you moving? No, you're not doing it. Okay. Well, I'll read the motion and we will see where we go. Is there a motion to consider, let's see, I don't see this. Is there a motion to accept Huggins Hollow LLC's 100% annexation petition to annex certain real properties contiguous to the town of Bluffton's corporate boundaries, consisting of a total of 36.265 acres more or less, and bearing the tax numbers that are shown on the agenda? Is there a motion for that? Okay, I think that died. There's not a motion. I didn't hear a lot of excitement to even go to the next step, Josh. So that motion, there's no motion, so that dies. Okay. Thank you very much. Uh-oh, I just lost my agenda. Oh, can someone put the agenda back up real quick? I don't know what's next. Is it the consent agenda?
Consent
Okay,
agenda.
thank you. So next, and I'll get back on. The next is oh, here it is. Next is consent agenda, and it has amazing information I had said earlier about even the development agreement update. Is there anything y'all would like more information off of this current consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve the items under the consent agenda?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's unanimous. And finally, we are going to an executive session. And if you would make a motion on items relating to Buckwalter Place Multi-County Industrial Park, that's FOIA Act 3470A5, personnel matters relating to town council manager contract, an interim town manager, that's 3470A12, and personnel and security matters and receipt of legal advice, that's 3470A1, 2, and 3.
So moved.
There's second?
Second.
Any discussion? We will have action on at least one of these items after executive session, and this may be an hour, maybe, and we will chime back in on Facebook. So we're in executive session.